Welcome. It's another golden day and another day for Bhagavad Gita Sadhana. It's wonderful to have you here. I'm Atmadarshan, or Laura, however you'd like to call me, and I'm coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio. We've been talking about Samatvam, equanimity in your daily life, and however you want to define equanimity, keeping your cool, being present. The more literal translation from the Sanskrit is Samatvam, meaning the same and essentially. So being essentially the same, being who you are, no matter what happens. And I wanted to follow up on something from yesterday. Yesterday talked about wanting to know. And when we know something versus not knowing something, are we essentially the same, or do we let these external conditions sway us from who we want to be? So yesterday it was the leaf vacuum that went by. Much rejoicing in the neighborhood. And then I had a picture of myself with some leaves that I raked right after the leaf vacuum went by. And I could not get it to be upside right. I tried thing after thing to get that picture to be upside right. So if you look at the thumbnail and you go, why is she upside down? I have no idea. And I realized how much time I was spending on trying to know why that picture was upside down. And finally, I just gave up. I don't give up. I surrendered to the will and the whims of the universe. And this is part of what Krishna, Arjun's spiritual advisor, is talking to him about, is the value of surrender, that it's good to have a plan, but sometimes life does not go according to plan. Have any of you noticed that? That sometimes life doesn't go according to plan. So again, this morning I was like, what am I going to talk about? And I had an idea, but then from out of nowhere, I got inspiration. And that inspiration came in the form of comments to yesterday's video. I'm like, oh, look at that. And it gave me pause to reflect. And it gave me the topic for today. We're in chapter 13. And if we look at, I left my book inside. Drat. Interesting. Chapter 13, verse 10. And we're only looking at the last two lines of that. It talks about someone being the same in receiving the sought or the unsought. That is, when you get what you expect and when you get what you're not expecting, can you still be the same? So this morning I had a lovely little class in that because there was so much that happened yesterday that I really expected, that I was seeking. Like the leaf vacuum came by and I was so excited because they hadn't come by on our side of the street yet, so I thought. So I went out and raked. And I sought for them to come and get my beautifully offered pile of leaves, and they didn't come back for whatever reason. Maybe they did get my side of the street and I didn't notice. Who knows? So I noticed, I sought that resolution, if you will. I raked the leaves. I went out in the cold when I wasn't feeling so good, but I did feel better afterward. And I sought for this sort of resolution, and it didn't come. And yesterday also, Chewy was supposed to come. So if you're not familiar with Chewy, it's a delivery service here in the United States that specializes in pet supplies. So Oliver's, treats, and litter and all that stuff. And you're supposed to get delivery within 1 to 3 days. And yesterday was the day. And I kept telling Oliver, because he was out of treats, I'm like, today your Chewy is coming. I don't know if he understands, but I understood. I was seeking that package. And as I'm watching the tracking, it's like, oh, your package is out for delivery. Great. And then the package went back to the warehouse in Twinsburg, Ohio. And I'm like, what the heck? So probably some kind of mechanical failure, but it never went out. And it was so interesting to watch how I reacted when these things that I sought did not manifest. And then there were some things I sought that did manifest, like I ordered pick up food and I went and got it and it was ready. I mean, that seems like a little thing, but just think how many things we do that we count on. Even when I drove to get the pickup food, I expected that I would get there safely and get back home safely in a reasonable time frame, and that happened. And then the unsought, which included today's wonderful comments from the viewers. Thank you so much. And by George, I'm watching myself. How long have I been working with this? And those things, the sought and the unsought, really got me off my kilter. So more to work on. And I'm not sure whether that's making me happy or not. Progress. And that makes me realize also, during doing the sadhana, those of you who are joining me, especially regularly, are you seeking something from the sadhana? Are you going to be able to be the same if you don't get what you're seeking? Or how's that going to affect your view of all you've done? And then the same thing the other way. Is it having results that you never expected? And if so, how is that affecting you? Oh, this is one of the things that sets Krishna apart from Arjun. Arjun is seeking he's going into this battle seeking a certain resolution and a certain feeling from that resolution. And Krishna's like, hey, it's a battle that's got to be fought, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, there's a lesson there. Today, I'm dedicating the practice to Kelly. Thank you so much for being on this journey with me. And to Freddy F. I appreciate the excitement in, in reaching your sought for resolution. All right. Well, let's do our practice. And it can be helpful just to think, what am I seeking from my pose today? What am I seeking from doing this balance pose for 300 and some days now? And is something else coming up that I didn't expect? Switch sides. Awesome. Okay, so for today's contemplation, I invite you to think about how you are when you receive what you want and when you receive what the universe gives you that maybe you don't think you want. You can either reflect on the past or maybe you can look ahead to your day. What are you seeking today? What are you going to be like if you get it? What are you going to be like if something else happens? Are you able to just be yourself? Let's find out. So 5 minutes. How did that go? Wow, I realized just how many expectations I had. Like, I expected to be able to sit cross legged, and my right knee was like, ah, no. So that was something unsought. I just realized that I've got so many expectations for today, for this week, for this month, for this year, for my life. And how could a day, a year, a month, a life possibly fulfill all of them? Maybe that explains a lot for me. So today, let's see what comes. Let's see if you come back tomorrow or not. If we get to see each other again, does the universe have that in store? We'll find out. Until then.